Okay, great. So please come up with your own opinions and express yourself first. Yes, please. Hello. Waiting for Godot bhai, waiting for you to speak something. Anybody, anything. Hello. Yes. कुछ लोग भाग भी जा रहे हैं छोड़ के. 3 लोग चले गए. 3 या 4 लोग. मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं आप लोग नहीं?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
हैं. चलो ठीक है. Okay, so let us talk about Lucky and Pozo. Yes, Lucky and Pozo. Okay, so Lucky and Pozo, as it is clear to us, Pozo has the command, and we see Lucky as having a rope around his neck. And apart from the apparent meaning, that is slave and master, master and slave relationship, bourgeoisie and proletariat relationship, there is, there are, in fact, certain things which are but necessary to know about this Pozo and Lucky. And the first thing is the kind of response which Vladimir and Estragon have towards the being of Pozo. Pozo is a self conscious man having a sense of sense. Sense of sense means he poses himself, he displays himself, he performs himself. He performs himself. And if I have to talk a little about performance theory, so in performance theory, we have 4 things which are very important. The first is being, that is being, Lucky and Pozo, Vladimir Astronaut, Saurav, and you all. Being. Then being doing, being and it's doing, and then doing showing, doing and it's showing. So first of all, being, and then being does, being performs something, and then the performance is being shown. The performance is being enacted with a deliberate intention, purpose, and then comes the art. So being, doing showing with the art, with the method, with the technique. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Huh? Performance, right now. So this can be clearly seen in the character of Pozo. How? I would like you to read the portion when Pozo enters. Please, anybody. Yes. Hello.
So from Enter Pozo,
Yes.
Enter Pozo and Lucky. Pozo drives Lucky by means of a rope passed round his neck so that Lucky is the first to enter, followed by the rope which is long enough to let him reach the middle of the stage before
Right.
Pozo appears. Lucky carries a heavy bag, a folding stool, a picnic basket,
Right.
and a great coat. Pozo a whip.
Continue. Continue.
Pozo. On. Crack of whip. Pozo appears. They cross the stage. Lucky passes before Vladimir and Estragon and exit. Pozo at the sight of Vladimir and Estragon stops short. The rope tautens. Pozo jerks at it violently. Back.
Jerks. Huh?
Back. Noise of Lucky falling with all his baggage. Vladimir and Estragon turn towards him, half wishing, half fearing to go to his assistance. Vladimir
Right.
takes a step towards Lucky. Estragon holds him back by the sleeve. Vladimir, let me go. Estragon, stay where you are. Pozo, be careful, he's wicked. Vladimir and Estragon turn towards Pozo with strangers. Estragon, is that him? Vladimir, who?
Who?
Es- Estragon,
Godot. He.
uh,
He.
Godot?
He. Huh? Yes.
Estragon, yes. I present myself, Pozo, I present
I
myself,
present myself, Pozo.
Pozo.
Look at this line. I present myself. And this is the performance. Conscious. And this I present myself as Pozo is the rational part, is the rational attitude, is the realm of reason where the things are not all fallen apart. Something is intact, something is alive. He is not like either Vladimir or Astrogon, who don't have a sense of sense at all. They have sense, but not as compared to the sense as we have. And when we approach Vladimir Astrogon as we are, we don't like them, we don't accept them until unless we make ourselves devoid of the paraphernalia which we have amassed. But when we look at this character, Pozo, then we find a kind of affinity because somebody is there like us. And what does he say first? I present myself conscious, self conscious, rational being, reasoned based being. And he says, what? I present myself, Pozo. And then Vladimir says to Astrogon, Not at all. He might not be Pozo, rather what? As
Godot.
did he say Godot? Have we found the person for whom we have been waiting for such a long time? Yes, continue. Not at all. Yes, Astrogon.
Estragon. He, he said Godot? Vladimir. Not at all. Estragon timidly to Pozo. You're not Mr. Godot, sir? Pozo. I am Pozo. Pozo. Does the name mean nothing to you? I say, does the name mean nothing to you? Vladimir and Estragon look at each other questioningly. Es-
Questioningly. Does
Question.
that name mean nothing to you? Right? So, what does it mean? The sense of authority, master, the sense of power in this absurd world. In this absurd world. Yes.
Estragon pretending to search. Bozo? Bozo?
And then comes the deluge, parody, mockery, which we generally do. Whenever look at yourself, remember yourself when you were a child, and whenever a new one used to be the part of the class, if you have a little bit of that shaitani in your mind, you'd have started playing with the name, right? What Estragon says? Bozo, bozo, pozo, bozo. Then Pozo says, Pozo, poser, poser, one who poses, one who possesses, one who poses as well. So the position and the posing, the posing of the position. Did you get the idea?
Yes, sir.
He's having the hat. You shall be seeing soon. He's having a watch. He's having a cigar. So he has a life well defined in terms of a Bandya position, white master in terms of a slave. So what did he say? So I myself present. And then what he says, when he plays with his word, rather he misplays with his word, with his name, then he says what? Pozo. I am Pozo. And not this one Pozo. I'm using, I'm making two words. The first, position. Position in terms of things, goods, articles, rationality, reason. And then out of this position, the sense of pose, POSE, that is to show off, that is to perform. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hmm.
Estragon. Ah, Pozo. Let me see. Pozo. Vladimir.
Hmm.
Is it Pozo or Bozo? Esther-
Bozo.
Estragon. Pozo.
Hmm.
No, I'm afraid I. No, I don't seem to. Pozo advances
Hmm.
threateningly.
Hmm.
Vladimir. I once knew a family. I once knew a family called Gozo. The mother had a clap.
Hmm. Hmm.
Estragon. We're not from these parts, sir. Pozo.
Hmm.
You are human beings nonetheless. He puts on his
You
glasses.
are human. Look at the words carefully and try to analyze his words in the light of position and poser. You are human being nonetheless. Though you are not well behaved, though you don't seem to be well off, well to do, right? And especially Astrogo as he has been in mud, beaten, right? But he says what? Okay, you seem to speak the language. So on that basis, I can tell this much that at least you are a human being. You are a human being. The sense of superiority with a sense of disdainfulness, with a sense of abhorrence, because he is all possessed and they are the dispossessed. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
He puts on his glasses. As far as one can see,
He puts on his glasses. Glass, again, the medium that facilitates a better seeing power or a sense of gentlemanliness, a sense of habit. Without glass, with the glass, yes, now the vision is clear. You are nonetheless human being, but unlike me. Yes,
he takes off his glasses, of the same species as myself. He bursts
of
into
the
an
same species as myself.
he
Yes,
bursts into an enormous laugh, of the same
uh,
species as Pozo, made in God's image.
made in God's image. Laughter, cynical laughter, sense of disdainfulness, sense of abhorrence that comes out from his awareness that he is having an extra edge, extra upper edge as far as the name Pozo is concerned, and as far as position and the sense of posing is concerned. So he is above them, if not in kind, at least in degree. At least in degree. And this again constructs the same idea of master and slave, bourgeoisie and proletariat, and if possible, we can take Pozo as demigod. Demigod as a tyrant in its miniature form. Tyrant. Because Second World War did give us tyrants, be it Hitler or be it Mussolini. I mean, just you name them, and we have loads of them, beginning from Russian Stalin, right? The Bolshevik revolution. So we have these people in plenty who had been in the habit to rule over the rest of the humanities by hook or by crook. And this idea is more than clear in the delineation of the character Mr. Ozo. Am I clear? Please tell me what's your opinion on that? Yes, tell me.
Yes, sir. Also, the fact that Vladimir and Estragon, they do not see the relationship between Pozo and Lucky as something unnatural. That also shows what was prevalent during that time.
Mhm. Somebody else, please continue. Hello.
So we have been talking about the idea that the slave and master relationship. Can it also be linked to the idea that the relationship of Lucky and Pozo is completely based upon exploitation, and the abuse that I feel Beckett wants to show to the society as what was happening in the society of then 19th 20th century in relation to colonialism and slavery, because he himself was suffering and he was running he was in hiding. Beckett himself could not face the society, so he's through these two different relationship, because Vladimir and Estragon have a sort of a natural bond. They because yesterday we were talking about them being mind and body, but it's the relationship of Pozo and Lucky is completely opposite, where we can see that there are two different entities who cannot be linked together because they represent two different class in the society.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Right. I mean, this exploitation aspect is more than conspicuous when we see Lucky being robed, and with the jerking of the rope, there is this kind of sore, right? Sore in the neck, and the blood is coming
Yes.
out as Astrogon notices. And the way he means Pozo, right? He eats the chicken, whatever he is having in his pocket, in the box, in the bag, and he throws that bone to the character who is that Lucky, and he eats like that, like he eats that like a dog that way, right? So this is all remarkably done, and this clearly highlights the huge breach between the classes, uh, and this must have been the reason, especially when we read 1950s Britain, especially when we talk about establishment processes and anti-establishment processes, right? We have several uh, Butler's Education Act in England, right, where low class people were promoted to be the part of Oxford and Cambridge, and so that they can make their life better. So you have rightly pointed out the yes, whenever there is a master slave relationship of older pattern, there would be exploitation of severe sort, of severe kind in that way. And this is what we clearly get from the relationship between Pozo and Lucky. And this, I'm quite hopeful that you might have read this episode. The way he mistreats him, he misbehaves with him, he abuses him, he curses him, and he just wants him to do the things he wants to be done, right? And in between, we have the interferences of both Vladimir and Estragon, as if they want to talk to him, they want to have a rapport with him, they want to have a, and they are at least worried by the sword and the blood by as it is coming out from the neck of Lucky. They are more worried than Pozo himself, isn't it? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Please come up.
Good morning, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Ah, yes, you are audible.
So, Estragon and Vladimir make statement in which they contradict themselves about their initial reaction to
Ah.
Pozo and
Hmm.
instantly create a comic situation.
Hmm.
Here the question, why doesn't he put down his bags?
Hmm.
Asked on tour is dropped and is not
Hmm.
answered until by Pozo.
Hmm.
Pozo exaggerates behavior is quite comic, and in this backdrop, his treatment of Lucky as a beast of burden
Hmm.
underscores human tragedy. Lucky, in
Hmm.
order to impress Pozo, doesn't put down his bags.
Hmm.
In the meanwhile, they have a close look at Lucky and describe him themselves lisping into a music hall across the top. Pozo feast on chicken and a wine, and Estragon craves for the discarded bones, which
Hmm.
Pozo maintains should go to the career Lucky. However, in the face of Lucky's silence, they are offered to Estragon, who to Valdemir embarrassment darts at them and grows them. Waiting about Lucky, while making two, there's a Professor Duckworth. making two suggestion about the source of his name. Says Lucky is
Hmm.
lucky because he gets the bone, or he is lucky because he has no expectation.
List expectations, isn't it? So even this is the case of Astragon as well.
Yes, sir.
No expectations except having something to eat, not more than that. Shivani?
Yes, sir.
So good. Yes, you have to say something more about that.
No, sir. I read it.
And I would certainly let you know that Lucky is not only lucky because he has less expectations. Lucky is more lucky for his heightened state of awareness, his heightened state of consciousness,
Yes,
which we
sir.
shall be doing very soon when we go to his infamous speech.
Okay, sir.
Ah, great. So she has rightly pointed out at least the lucky, but lucky, I personally take it in italics. Lucky is not so lucky. Lucky is not so lucky. Had he been an existential lucky one, he would have discarded the baggage of Mr. Pozo and he would have come on his own. At least Vladimir and Estrom are better than Lucky in this respect because they have the sense of they have their own sense. And Vladimir in extra space because he's less bothered about the kind of being of Pozo, but whereas we see Astrogon is a bit little bothered, not especially to the wounds of Mr. Lucky, but to the chicken bones which are left, which are thrown, and he wants to eat them. Right? So they have their own sense of intact. They have sense intact, the existential sense in that way. But when you look at Lucky in that way, had he, if we have the chashma and the glass of existentialism, he is not the one who is exercising his full power. Had he been being in itself or being for itself, in fact being for itself, he would have discarded the baggage and would have chosen his own way to lead the path. But the point is being in itself, being for itself, and being for others, right? They are not something which are objectively conceived. They are something which are here in the mortal life, and each one of us has to exercise that. Each one of us, depending on our mood and mode, depending on this resource and the sources in that way, we have to be in any of these situations, in any of these beings. One can move beyond that, right? But when you look at Lucky in that way, Lucky, has more than often been taken as an instance of artist, as an instance of artist, the free voice, the artist, the yearning voice, the artist, the questioning voice. It has been curbed too. It has been chained too. It has to depend on something greater, something more powerful. So Lucky should not merely be taken as the one as casted in the mirror of slavery. No, he is more than that. He is more than that. And as Professor Duckworth, as Miss Shivani has rightly said, that he's lucky because he has list expectations. But this expectation, this very this labeling would, I mean, it is open to be questioned. It is open to be discussed at length when we try to look at his character from a different angle, and that is Lucky as an artist, Lucky as an expression which has been suppressed, which has been repressed So he has his hat on, and he is very much famous for his speech, which is all conceived psychologically as the outcome of the unconscious mind, as if he has been suppressed, repressed for a longer time, and he hasn't spoken, and then he shall be speaking. So what shall he speak, and what we come out, what we whatever we make out of his statement, long statement, that's really interesting to read and to understand. Okay,
Okay, sir.
somebody else.
Got it.
Somebody else.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to say that how Pozo treats Lucky more cruelly than he would an animal. And here I am reminded of the fact that was very prevalent in India earlier about the Bandhua Mazdoor. Like how Bandhua Mazdoor were treated more cruelly by their own people and not the white men. Though they were influenced by the white people, but they have lost the sense of humanity in them. Same here, I can see that how Pozo is treating Lucky here more than an animal. And one possible interpretation of the meaning here is that Pozo represents mankind and Lucky represents Christ. If this view they accepted that that would take place before Vladimir and Estragon are uh, maybe that they are reacting of the redemption of the Christ. And another possible interpretation is that Pozo and Lucky represent human life. Pozo representing the physical aspect of the human personality, and Lucky the spiritual, which is in time brutalized by the treatment it receives, and is reduced to the incoherence represented in the play by Lucky's outburst when his thinking hat is put on his head. So here we can see that Pozo himself in the course of the play turns blind. This perhaps being an indication of the transient's human power and domination, which will.
That's the case of the second. That's the case of second act, Fatima. So we shall come to
Sir,
that. So let us
yes,
primarily
sir.
focus on the act. Yes, somebody else. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes.
Sir, this idea of holding the baggage, can it be metaphorically referred? Because we have seen that Pozo is the authority figure, and sort of he presents himself as the ideal man, that who is the figure of the white man and how a white man should be. So, because this is an absurd and existential play, I was feeling that maybe because Lucky is not putting down the bag because he is not ready to accept the fact what his fate, what will happen if he is not having Pozo as his master. Because when later in the play they are saying that Pozo is planning to sell him and get rid of him, Lucky is not very accepting or very. He's crying and bursting out. So I feel that this idea of carrying the baggage and not letting it go is his way of keeping his responsibility and identity intact, because at least he's known as Lucky as far as Pozo is referred to. Otherwise, because in others' sleeve they were given names or numbers. So I feel Lucky is very he's holding on to his personality, and what all Pozo knows about him, he feels that that is his identity.
Okay, good. Okay. Uh, Somebody else? Yes.
I think like Pozo is being the master and showing the cruel and insensitive side of his, but he is also lonely from inside as he when he gets to know that they are waiting for Godot, he says that I will also wait because I like to meet new people. So he is also lonely, but he just tries to hide it from being
Ha,
having a
ha,
fake mask.
ha, ha. Very good. Very good point. Well raised. Well observed. Yes. Ha. Hmm. Yes, I like to meet new people to exercise my power.
So, but
Right?
this can also be seen as I like to new people as they had colonized the all the native societies and
Obviously,
native
yes.
people.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, if he has a sense of being powerful, right? So where will he exert his power? Where will he show his power? To the plants, to the rocks? No, na. Obviously, the human beings made of flesh and blood, right? So yes, all of us are interrelated, right? So is the case of Mr. Pozo. So in order to pose and in order to display the positions he is having, would he not need human beings? Would he not need maybe God himself or Godot himself as a new person to whom he could show and to whom he could talk to as, look, I am Pozo. I present myself as Pozo. I have chicken bones, I have wine, I have a watch, I have a glass, I have a hat, I have a slave, I have a bag. Yes, which must be performed, which must be shown to have the sense of being superior, to have the sense of supremacy, right? But what will happen to this supremacy? We shall see that in the Act 2. That's a different case to consider. Yes, good, very good. Somebody else? Hello? Anybody? Please come up. One or two more observations. Hello? One or two observations, bhai. हेलो सब सो गए क्या अरे कोई कुछ तो बोले
So, so when Lucky begins cry when he learns that his master wished to get rid of him, so there is an instance of black humor or black humors as Lucky suffering affords Pozo an opportunity to poke fun at him and playfully suggests to Astragon to wipe away his tears before he stopped crying. As soon as Astragon approaches Lucky, the latter kicks him violently in the shins. Astragon
हम्म
starts bleeding and howl with pain. He as if has replaced the weeping Lucky.
हम्म
Here, Pozo suddenly turns very philosophical when he says the tears of the world are a constant quantity. For each one who begins to weep, somewhere
हम्म
else another stops. That is,
हम्म
human
हम्म
suffering remains
हम्म
unmitigated. Lucky
हम्म
Pozo acknowledged taught him all beautiful things.
हम्म yes so what do you think of it Ivani
Uh, Sir, so there is some black humors are there when we read this paragraph. So we find that. Um, Sir, here lucky sufferings afford Pozo
हम्म
an opportunity.
हम्म
Sir, is there?
yes Speak, no issue.
So what did you think?
Huh? What?
So what did you think in these lines that Lucky sufferings afford Pozo an opportunity to poke fun at him?
Somebody else? Anybody would like to respond? Please respond to the query of Shivani. Anybody? Did you find the passage which she is referring to? Yes? Tell me, bhai, did you find the passage?
Yes, sir, we found the passage.
So please, Akshita, speak something.
Uh,
Yes. Yes. I'm waiting. Anybody just speak something now. Don't think of right and wrong, yeah. Even I just want to know your perception. What do you feel it to be? Yes. हेलो अरे बाप रे बाप इतना लंबा समय ले गायब आर यू देयर भाई हेलो टेल मी
yes, sir, we are here.
I'll do one thing. That's all for today. I have to rush somewhere. So please read this act once again. And tomorrow, come up. You have absorbed very well, but I need more participation. I need more responses. I hope you shall be doing it tomorrow. And tomorrow we shall be doing this along with famous speech of Lucky to unearth more broader concerns of Thomas, sorry, Samuel Beckett, and is waiting for Godot. Thank you so much. Please read it and come tomorrow little extra prepared. Okay, Mike,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.